जहां बनते हैं देश के गौरव, इंडिया का एकमात्र ऐसा कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट जहां कैडेट्स को ट्रेन किया जाता है आने वाले डिफेंस एग्जाम के अनुसार। अगर आपका भी सपना है भारतीय सेना में शामिल होकर देश की सेवा करने का, तो आज ही ज्वाइन करें त्रिशूल डिफेंस एकेडमी।
चलो भाई, गुड मॉर्निंग जेंटलमैन। टुडे वी हैव गैदर्ड हियर फॉर lecturate round in GTO. For lecturates you need to pick up a card, and in a card you will be given 4 options, 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to pick up one option and speak for 3 minutes. After 2.5 minutes a bell will be ringed wherein you need to conclude the topic. I hope you have understood. Any doubts? Sure? So let's begin. Chest number 1, please come here and pick up a card.
Morning GTO and my dear friends. Today I, Archita Gupta, chess number 01, will going to discuss on the topic women in combat role. As we have seen in a very ancient time, when the revolt of 1857 have started, we have seen Rani Lakshmi Bai is one of those women who played with a huge bravery, and even the general of Britishers, huge roles, have appreciated her bravery. So women are no less than anyone, and we should need to promote women in combat role. Is means that women who are performing in the fields like army, defense, as well as the physical tasks that they can do in a combat role. So some of the examples of women in combat role are Punita Malhotra, who was the very first woman in army who got the highest rank in army, in a particular army sector. The another woman is Avni, who became the first pilot in Indian Air Force. So these are several women that played a huge role in our defense. So I want to appreciate our government, as it is providing a huge support to the women as well. As in a very recent news, the government of India has make women eligible in NDA. So this is one of the great step and in women empowerment too, that can empower women as well. Some of the schemes that are related to this is some of the schemes that are related to this are women's empowerment, that by providing some kind of reservations is these kind of fields, like in the CRPF we have seen 2 women have recently got the recommendation in the combat role in CRPF in ITBP. So these are some very popular examples that women are doing continuously great, and they are putting there a lot of efforts. It is also seen that they are not only mentally strong but also physically strong. So give them chance in combat role is very important. Now comes to the conclusion. Women have suffered in ancient time a lot by the prathas like Sati Pratha, Parda Pratha. It doesn't mean that they are weak, they are very strong, but they haven't get the chance. So I am really thankful to our government that he is continuously giving that kind of field and supporting women in combat roles. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Good morning GTO sir and my dear friends. This is Aditya Vikram Singh and I am here for TES 46 entry scheme, and my topic is how can India become a superpower. Before starting off with my topic, I would like to tell you all what is a superpower country. A superpower country has a very strong GDP, a strong army, a strong internal stability. Or a country which has all these three qualities can be considered as a superpower. A superpower country can influence the world politics and geopolitics around its area. You must be thinking, what are we doing towards becoming a superpower? I would like to tell you all some of the initiatives taken by our government to become a superpower. But before that, I would like to tell you some facts. In 2019, our country was growing at a rapid growth of 7.9% per annum, which contributed our GDP. But the onset of coronavirus had affected it, thus stunt our growth in many ways. some of the bold initiatives taken by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji is Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India and Smart India missions. Let me tell you some of the aspects of it. The Atmanirbhar Bharat. By what do you understand by it? I would like to tell you. By Atmanirbhar Bharat, our country has decided to manufacture different kinds of things, like small things. First of all, I would start with very small things, is the pen, the pencil, the bicycles, and going to that to cars and many more. By Smart India project, our government had decided to. Before concluding, I would like to thank our government for taking bold initiative to make India a superpower. Thus, I would really congratulate them for taking these steps. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Today I am Anmol Singh in front of you, going to give a lecturette on topic child labor. I am from TS entry and I am going in SSB Allahabad. So I would like to start. What is child labor? Child labor is when a child below 18 dads start working for their living, and it should not be done basically because they are not enough for capable for doing all these things, but they are doing these things. And why they should do this? Because as we have seen that poor people, not necessary, but yeah, many of the case we have seen that in poor peoples, they think that our child will just like a asset for us, and he will earn and we will enjoy with that. Not enjoy, basically they will live their living by that. But they didn't think much that the child is also when the child is born, and it also takes so much money for their education and anything else. But they didn't think about that thing, and they just believe that it will become asset for us. We have also seen that in many hotels child work, and in many dhabas they are also child work, and government also doing many things for this, as government has also included many policy that child less than 18 should not work anywhere, he has to studies, and government also improved the government schools for that child so that he will educate easily, and because of that he should not work, he will go to the school. And the government also introduced the new policy midday meal, so that if some student didn't want to go to the school, so they will go for the food, that if they will get the food there and they will enjoy. So because of these things they will attract the child, so that our economy will also boost. And because of education is definitely, you know, that it is important. So if there will be education, then no one will do this.
Please conclude.
Conclusion, I would like to say that the child should be studied at least till the age of 18, because after that he know that what he can do, he know his betterment, that how he will survive and how will earn the living. So I would request to you all that if you all see that a child working on anywhere, so just tell him that not to work.
Time up.
Myself, Shyam Gaurav Kumar, chair number 16 from Nalanda, Bihar. I am present here to Army TS 46. Today I deliver the speech on the topic of Indian population in India. In recent years, India is not so populated, but now it is so populated due to industrial revolution, industrial growth of our country. So it is controlled to population. Our government should take the major decision to prevent air pollution, such as air pollution, water pollution, etc.
Speak in Hindi if you want to.
Yes, sir. पॉपुलेशन बढ़ने के कारण में बहुत सारे कारण है हमारे भारत में, जैसे कि हम लोग भारत एक डेवलपिंग कंट्री है, डेवलपिंग कंट्री है। भारत को डेवलप होने के लिए बहुत सारे काम करने के लिए पॉपुलेशन सो क्रिएटेड, जैसे इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन में इंडस्ट्रियल को सेटअप करने हर एक स्टेट में
Please conclude.
Now conclusions. I would like to say that every step to take to reduce our population pollutions. Every individual take the major decision to prevent.
Time up.
Good morning, respected GTO sir and my dear friends. I am Shikhar Rai from Patna, Bihar, and I have come here for NDA. I have chosen the topic India is a fast developing nation, still people at the bottom are not getting benefit of it for lecturate. I would like to start with the history of India. After independence, that is after 1947, India was a country with a lack of infrastructure, lack of healthcare facilities, education facilities, be it urban area or rural area. Everybody was underdeveloped and nothing much was beneficial for any sector in the society. But we can see that it has been 74 years of independence and India has already developed a lot, and we are also seeing that it is developing at a faster rate, be it defense sector, education sector, healthcare sector. We are seeing that many coaching center, IITs, IIMs have been set up in India, and people are now depending upon India for their education instead of going countries like US or London. There are very small ratio of people now who are leaving India and going abroad for their studies. But there is also a disadvantage of it. That is, we are seeing that many schemes of government have been made for the employment of the people and for the improvement in the healthcare facilities, and government schools have also been set up, and though the government is checking through it, but still we are seeing that in rural areas, due to lack of awareness and lack of opportunities, children in the rural areas are after the age of 14, from the age of 14 have started to earn, and they have started to go in the cities and work as a labor instead of going to school. So I think that though India is developing at a faster rate, but schemes should be made and checkup should be done in the rural areas too, so that awareness would be spread. If we take an example like in middle class families or be it higher class families, we can see that many child labor, many kids are also coming for the household work. So they needs to be aware, and they needs to be sent to the school.
Conclude.
I would like to conclude by saying that government should focus towards rural areas too, because urban area has already developed and many coaching centers and other education facilities have been put up. So awareness should be provided to rural areas too. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Dear sir and gentlemen, this is Priyanshu Srivastav and I am here, test number 13, and I am here to speak on the topic Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now what is Atmanirbhar Bharat? Atmanirbhar Bharat means making India self-reliant, not depending on the others. Now there is a question at why we need Atmanirbhar Bharat. So India needs to improve its economy and boost and also needs to increase the GDP sector. So there is a great requirement for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now how this can be possible? So we can take the example of that today $1 is equal to 74 Indian rupees, and earlier we were dependent on foreign countries for all the things. But now recently our respected Prime Minister Narendra Modi had inaugurated a fertilizer company in Gorakhpur, which was earlier closed since 30 years. But now it has been started. when it was closed, it produces 900 metric tons per year urea, but now it produces 3,000 metric tons. So the dependency of urea on foreign countries had been reduced, and now India has become self-reliant for the fertilizers. We can also take the example on the defense sector. Earlier it was that we have to purchase the missiles and various rifles from the foreign countries, but now India is developing the defense and research sector, and now we are producing our own missiles also. So I think that all the steps by each individual to make self-reliant Bharat increase our GDP. So friends, I would like to conclude my points by saying that making India more self-reliant will increase the economy sector, and hence increases the GDP also. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Good morning, respected GTO sir and my dear friend. Myself Ankit Kumar from Ara Bihar, chest number 19 for the TES entry. I am going to deliver a lecture on the topic of electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are those vehicles which are run by the electricity and batteries. When battery was invented, it was so heavy and slow chargeable. That time we cannot use the battery as run the motors of vehicles. But with the help of lithium ion, batteries become fast chargeable and light in weight. It has so many advantages that motivate us to use, like it is eco-friendly in nature, and also it is eco-friendly in nature, and also high efficiency of energy can be seen. It also helps to grow our GDP, because India is the largest platform for electric vehicles. Government also take initiative for this, like giving subsidies for buy electric vehicles, and government take initiative that till 2030 in India 30% vehicles run by the electricity and the batteries. So friends, dear friends, we should use electric vehicles for conserve our environment. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Good morning, GTO sir and gentlemen. I am Karthik Shukla, standing here in front of you to deliver a lecture over my topic, which is what the government required to done over the youth. As India is a country of youth, where the majority of population is youth, which count under the age of 21 to 25. Even after the fact that India is a country of youth, we are still developing. Let me figure out some point that why India is still count under as a developing country, even after having the largest number of youth in the world. We all have heard of the app named TikTok. No doubt it has the highest number of users in India, and let me tell you a fact that the majority of the users were youth. It clearly shows that the majority of youth is not well organized, well equipped, and not even well minded. What can be done? As Indians are always very good in technology, in my opinion, introducing a course of coding technologies into the junior classes, which is not available yet, would be a better option for maintaining the youth. As India is a country of youth, where majority of population are well minded, but still I would say not well organized, there could be some better reform into the education system, which can lead to the better result. Potential Indians can lead to a better result. Empowering the youth, making some reservations for the unemployed youth could also be a beneficial for us. But the main cause, the main problem I would like to figure out over here is we Indians youth are not well organized. If we look into our education system, they are quite problematic. Just looking into the theory, mugging the things up, writing on the paper, is not the solution. No doubt there are lack of opportunities, and let me tell you a case about China. Even after China is the country which, with the highest number of population, currently now suffering the lack of youth. In China, one boy, means one person, has to take the load of two parents, moreover 4 parents. Means two of them are his own parents and 2 are in-laws, means father-in-law and mother-in-law.
Please conclude.
In the last, I would like to conclude with the fact that as Indians are very good in technology, giving them some potential money to run for the startups, teaching them entrepreneurship, and no doubt introducing the course of overtech would be a better option. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Start. Good morning, sir, and all my dear friends. Today, I Ayush Singh with chess number 10 going to deliver a lecture on topic how to prevent COVID's third wave. As you all know, friends, the year 2020 has been a disastrous year, not for just India but for all countries worldwide due to the widely spread coronavirus. It has severely affected the Indian economy and the GDP growth of all countries, which has declined the rate of developing all the nations of the world. But today we have recovered from first and second wave of corona. But what is the need to be aware from COVID third wave? According to the latest survey, the decline of using mask has been about 90%, which means that we Indians are declining the use of mask, which can be the cause of COVID's third wave. We cannot do so, and we cannot afford the third wave, as it severely affects the economy and country's growth. In 2020, Pradhan Mantri, Prime Minister of India also launched the Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme. But what was the need for to launch this? It is because the India was declining its rate from 2018 to 2020. So Atmanirbhar Bharat also played an important role to sustain the growth of India, which helped in the self-reliancy of India. But today we are not concerning with the third wave of COVID, which can lead to the disastrous cause. So at last I want to conclude my words by saying that use of mask and other protection and awareness about COVID is must. Thank you.
Sir, and my dear friends, it is Vikas with chess number 23, and I am going for TS 46. Now I am going to declare my views on the topic of increasing oil prices, reason and impact. First of all, I want to tell that why the oil prices are increasing in the India. Because if we talk about the storage of the petroleum, there are lack of in India, but there are more in the world, but there are lack of the storage of the petroleum areas. So धीरे धीरे पेट्रोलियम की जो क्षेत्र है वो ख़त्म होते जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि इंडिया इज़ ए डेवलपिंग कंट्री. सो इट वांट्स मोर एंड मोर, देयर इज़ ग्रोइंग मोर फैक्ट्रीज एंड अदर थिंग्स, एंड देयर आर ग्रोइंग द व्हीकल नंबर्स इन इंडिया. सो देयर इज़ मोर नीड ऑफ ऑयल लाइक पेट्रोल एंड डीजल वगैरह डीजल. सो वी शुड, जिसके कारण अपने इंडिया के अंदर पेट्रोल की जो खदान है वो खाली होती जा रही है, एंड ऑलमोस्ट द कोयला खदानें भी खत्म होती जा रही है, जिसका यूज़ बिजली उत्पादन में किया जाता है. सो देयर इज़ बहुत लैक है. सो अपने इनकी प्राइजेज बढ़ाई जा रही है. इंडियन गवर्नमेंट द्वारा ऑयल की प्राइजेज बढ़ाई जा रही थी. इसका रीज़न एक ही है कि इंडिया के अंदर खदानें कम पड़ रही है, और इसी के साथ साथ इंडिया विदेशों से आयात बहुत ज़्यादा करता है बजाय निर्यात के. सो जिसके कारण इंडिया की जीडीपी भी इसके ऊपर प्रभावित होती है. सो अपनी जीडीपी को बनाए रखने के लिए इंडियन गवर्नमेंट इज़ मेकिंग हाई प्राइस ऑफ द ऑयल पेट्रोलियम. सो दैट इज़ द रीज़न ऑफ द इंक्रीजिंग ऑफ द prices of the oil and petroleum. So if I talk about the impact of the rising price of the petroleum, there is more impact of India. If we talk about the poor people in middle class people, they used to almost use bike and local cars. वे अपने मतलब दूर दराज में क्षेत्र में काम करने के लिए उनको बाइक और उनकी ज़रूरत पड़ती है बहुत ज़्यादा, जिसके कारण अगर पेट्रोल की अगर कीमतें बढ़ाई जाती है, पेट्रोल डीजल की कीमतें बढ़ाई जाती है, जिसके कारण उन पर बहुत ज़्यादा प्रभाव पड़ रहा है. In conclude, I want to say that India is making growth of GDP by the rising the prices of petroleum, and I want to conclude that India should make the. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Start. Good morning, respected GTO sir and all my dear friends. Myself Yash Singh Baghel, chess number 18, and I am today going to express my views on the topic of Indian Armed Forces, women in the Indian Armed Forces. Women in India worshipped in the form of the Durga, Kali and other gods, and they are famous for their power-giving skills. That's why in India, the Indian women are coming forward in all the sectors actively. And in Indian Armed Forces, the women is also coming forward to become the part of the Indian Armed Forces. In women became the part of the Indian Army in 1956 when they get the chance to become the part of the Indian Medical Corps. In 1992, the Short Service Commission started to induct the women in the Indian Armed Forces. In Indian Armed Forces, still the women not have got the opportunity to become the part of the artillery, infantry or the mechanized infantry. While in the Indian Air Force, they are inducting the women in both the combat and the helping roles. Indian Navy is also inducting a lot of the women officers in the warships and in the other sectors also as a helping roles. There are a lot of the things which makes the women vulnerable in the combat roles, which makes them hinders to part of the Indian Armed Forces. The first reason is that the menstruation and the pregnancy, which makes them vulnerable in the combat situations. Second is the physical strength. Physical strength, if we compare of the women as to the boys, they are little weaker. Third is number of the women in the Indian Armed Forces is less than the boys, which makes them alone in the combat roles. If their government need to make a lot of the policies and also the laws so that the Indian women can become the part of the Indian defense institutions easily. If we take the example of the Madhumita, who got the Sena Medal Gallantry Award, and the Gunjan Saxena and Srividya Rajan, which we got during the Kargil War as a Air Force great officers. So in the conclusion, I want to say that if India give the chance to the women in the Indian Armed Forces, they will definitely prove that they are no less than the boys and make the nation proud. Thank you, Jai Hind.
जहां बनते हैं देश के गौरव, इंडिया का एकमात्र ऐसा कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट जहां कैडेट्स को ट्रेन किया जाता है आने वाले डिफेंस एग्जाम के अनुसार। अगर आपका भी सपना है भारतीय सेना में शामिल होकर देश की सेवा करने का, तो आज ही ज्वाइन करें त्रिशूल डिफेंस एकेडमी।